Biodiversity. You are a part of the biodiversity on Earth. What is biodiversity? Bio means life, and diversity refers to variety. So biodiversity is the variety of life. But there are really several types of biodiversity. Biodiversity is species diversity. Species diversity includes all of the different types of living things, from microscopic bacteria to the large white-tailed deer and white oak. Some people believe that Illinois is a state with little more biodiversity than corn and soybeans, but Illinois actually has a great variety of species. Nearly 54,000 species have been identified in Illinois so far, with many more to be discovered. This number does not include the bacteria, an immense group of organisms which are structurally different from other living things. Scientists estimate there are millions of kinds of bacteria. Biodiversity is also genetic diversity. Let's look at humans as an example. Unless they are identical twins, no two people will be the same. There is a tremendous amount of diversity in the human species, as there is in most species. Genetic diversity includes the variety within species, which is determined by the genes on the chromosomes. Genetic diversity makes every living thing unique. Coded messages in the genes are passed from one generation to the next. The results of the code are sometimes visible, but more likely to be unseen within the cells. Genetic diversity is a safeguard against future problems like disease and natural disasters. In Illinois, the greater prairie chicken provides an example of loss of genetic diversity. In the 1860s, millions of prairie chickens were found in the native grasslands of the state. By the early 1990s, only about 50 prairie chickens were living in Illinois, in Jasper and Marion counties. Conversion of prairie to agricultural land resulted in an enormous loss of habitat for the birds. With no place to live and no food to eat, the birds died. The surviving birds had such a small population size that they lost some of their genetic information. The loss of genetic diversity affected the ability of these birds to survive because their eggs were not successfully hatching. The Illinois Department of Natural Resources began a program in 1992 to introduce prairie chickens from other states into the Illinois prairie chicken populations. By breeding with these new birds, it was hoped that the Illinois birds could improve their genetic diversity. Approximately 500 prairie chickens were trapped in Minnesota, Nebraska, and Kansas over a 7-year period and flown by airplane to Illinois for release at the Prairie Ridge State Natural Area. Overall egg quality and hatching ability did improve. Today, the population has increased and seems to be maintaining itself well. Biodiversity is also the habitats of all living things. The more good quality habitat types that are available, the greater the number of species that can occupy them. Illinois includes the edge of 5 major ecological regions in the United States: the eastern deciduous forest, the tallgrass prairie, the southern coastal plain, the Ozark uplift, and the northern boreal forest. Each of these areas has smaller, more specialized habitats within them, the natural divisions. The unusually rich diversity of life in our state is due to the variety of habitats in the 14 natural